It ain't for everybody. 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 Yeah, many you call, but few get chosen. Matthew 22:14. My righteousness gonna exceed that of the Pharisees. Do what they say, not as they do, like bad parenting. Shout out to Job. I strive to be blameless. Can't live in sin and get salvation. I lost a lot, it don't compare to what I'm gaining. If your faith don't match your works, then you're playing. I want the kingdom, y'all wanna be rich and famous. I do the work, study the ants, so I ain't lazy. Black Christians be like, Israelites crazy. Sleepwalking, don't understand, that's who they is. Mental bondage, side effects from enslavement. You still loving your master, that's crazy. Reprobate mind, no way you gon' persuade them. So the chariots ain't gon' swing low to save them. It ain't for everybody. 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 It's a blessing to understand the scriptures. Without the Holy Spirit, you'll never get the picture. If you don't harmonize your understanding, ain't official. Make sure you learn how to fish before you're fishing. The Bible don't contradict, people contradict it. Don't wanna be obedient, they wanna be missing. Abuse grace like it's a license for sinning. Yeah, you gon' slip up and sin, but don't practice it. Broad is the way that lead into destruction. I ain't condemning, my criticism is constructive. Just wanna motivate my people to be productive, so they ain't on the wrong end of your hour's judgment. My heart's desire is that we all can be saved, but it can't go that way. Straight and narrow is the way. That's why the scriptures ain't for everybody. The kingdom ain't for everybody. Salvation ain't for everybody. It ain't for everybody. It ain't for everybody. It ain't for everybody. Salvation ain't for everybody. It ain't for everybody. It ain't for everybody. It ain't for everybody. Salvation ain't for everybody. It ain't for everybody. It ain't for everybody. It ain't for everybody. Salvation ain't for everybody. It ain't for everybody. It ain't for everybody. It ain't for everybody. Salvation ain't for everybody. It ain't for everybody.
He keep on blessing me. 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 He keep on blessing me.
God gave me, and let the devil take it, take it.
He keep on blessing me. He keep on blessing me. He keep on blessing me. He keep on blessing me.
God gave me, and let the devil take it, take it.
Sent his son to die for me. Never got tired of me. It's the most high for me. Know he gon' slide for me. All in my trials with me. When I call on him, he listen. Gotta please my God, I'm persistent. With commitment, there's consistency. I'm prepared to go the distance. No Satan gon' stir up mischief to make it lose hope, that's his mission. God with me, who could be against me? With the vanity, you gon' have to miss me. I got joy even when I get afflicted. In the spirit, I gotta stay lifted. Double crafty, can't let him trick me. I was wicked, but I repented. Dedicated my life, I meant it. Back then, used to serve in the trenches. Now I just wanna preach his word in the trenches. Holy Spirit right there to assist me. I'ma hit my shot, won't miss it. Producing more horsepower like pistons. Eternal life, yeah, that's my mission. He keep on blessing me. He keep on blessing me.
God gave me, and let the devil take it, take it.
He keep on blessing me. He keep on blessing me. He keep on blessing me. He keep on blessing me.
God gave me, and let the devil take it, take it.
Gotta live by the Great Commission. Make disciples and preach repentance. The wicked ones gon' feel attention. Lake of fire ain't no detention. Won't waste my time, I entertain dissension. 2/3 ain't never gon' get it. Peculiar people ain't never gon' fit it. I speak truth, I don't care about feelings. Fair or not, cause I wish I didn't. Hard still, I'm standing on business. No fear, the enemy ain't winning. I know the gospel, so I gotta defend it. Can't love God if you're practicing it. Your pastor lied, you can tell him I said it. He could have been lied. Better make him look silly, I don't take credit. Y'all against the victory. Ain't got short time and it ain't blessing me. He keep on blessing me. He keep on blessing me.
God gave me, and let the devil take it.
He keep on blessing me. He keep on blessing me. He keep on blessing me. He keep on blessing me.
God gave me, and let the devil take it. Bless me.
We are treasures.
Yeah.
You know,
I feel like definitely a good conversation starter. I think the message is beautiful. It's also biblical. The Bible speaks about children of Israel being called by the Most High as a treasured people or a special people. So I definitely think it's a beautiful message.
I repented, I know the angels rejoice. I was living in wickedness and was sinning by choice. A lot of things in my past I don't like to speak on, but believe me, it was more than just hanging on street corners. Fixated on my flesh, cause my mindset was carnal. If it wasn't for his grace, man, I could have been a goner. I was gone 20. Until Messiah come.
Letting you think in the night like a thief.
Gotta do the work until the Messiah come.
Get caught sleeping
Come on.
when the Messiah come.
Gotta do the work until the Messiah come.
Letting you
Hey.
think in the night like a thief.
Gotta do the work until the Messiah come.
Get caught sleeping when the Messiah come.
Gotta do the work. Procrastination come from Satan. Not action need to be affirmative. You got options, you got choices. The consequences are permanent. Just you and your well-being can't be all that you concerned with. What the use of having knowledge if nobody else is learning? It's on you. We responsible for breaking the curse. It's on you. Don't be lazy. I put in some work. It's on you. Don't be stubborn, sis. Put the Most High first. You can win them by your conduct. You being observed. It's on you. We the reason we can't exit Babylon while we still getting destroyed. Don't know who we really are. It's on us. We who we waiting on, not the Messiah. Do the work. You want the kingdom, gotta stay on fire. Shalom.
It ain't for everybody. 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 Yeah, many are called, but few get chosen. Matthew 22:14. My righteousness gonna exceed that of the Pharisees. Do what they.
Shalom, shalom. Get this off of this screen. Y'all give me a second. There we go. Shalom, shalom, family, shalom.
Shalom.
First, want to start off by giving all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High God, whose name is Yahweh, and we do so by Shem, Hamashiach, Yahweh Shai. That's in the name of his only begotten Son, who most around the world know as Jesus Christ. I'm your brother Hurt. Got my aunt Aaron with me. And the title for the lesson today is Stop Calling Our Israelite Women Queen. I've been pondering on doing this lesson for a long time because this is something that our people do. It's out of habit because when we were in the world, we would call women queens as a term of endearment. And as we dive into this topic and we look into it, we'll find that, for one, that Israelite women were never called queens. For two, it's definitely not a term of endearment when you look into the etymology of the word. So, Ak, if you got anything you want to say, you can.
Khan. All praise to the Most High. Shalom, family, peace and blessings. I hope everybody is well. Shout out to everybody that's in the chat. Shout out to everyone that's watching but hasn't placed a chat or a comment. I'm definitely looking forward to the lesson. I think this is going to be a real good and informative one that a lot of people are not necessarily aware of. And I would definitely implore you, just like we always do, Facebook, make sure to like this video /heart. And if you can, use the add highlight feature if you're on Facebook, or use the add followers feature if it allows you. And same thing for YouTube. Make sure to like the video and share. Subscribe if you haven't already, and hit the bell for the notifications so that you can be alerted when uploads drop on the channel. The brother heard he dropped something recently, just Monday, matter of fact, dealing with this so-called holiday Christmas. That was a good video. Definitely go check that out. Share it with your friends and family, especially if they're celebrating the holidays. But yeah, man, that's pretty much everything I got to share. I'll pass back to you, King.
The Water King, and I'm gonna drop that video on Facebook tomorrow also for them to see on that day that they celebrating this paganistic holiday, and hopefully somebody will see it and actually pay attention to it. So all praise to the Most High. Shalom to everybody that's in the chat. Shalom, Sister Diamond, Sister Andrea, Sister Latrice, Sister Daughter of a King, Sister Zuli, and Sister Kanaya. All praise to the Most High. And if you're watching this on the replay, we ask you like, share the video, comment, let us know you were able to watch the video and receive the edification. It helps us also, it helps the algorithm to pick up on the video so that other people can see it. So it gives more visibility. So all praise to the Most High. You can get your screen shared, and I want to start with the article.
Etymology post.
Sure. Yes, sir.
Come. So this is Edom Online, and this is for queen, which is a noun. It says Middle English, queen, preeminent, female, noble, consort of a king, also female sovereign, woman ruling. Like here, it says woman ruling in her own right. From Old English, queen, female ruler of a state, woman, wife. From Proto-Germanic, queeness. Source, also the Old Saxon, quan, wife. Old Norse, queen. Gothic, canes. And then it gives a variant. And then the source is queen, also from the root, Gwen, woman.
And so I'm gonna just kind of speak on this first part that I just read. So it says Middle English, queen, preeminent female noble, consort of a king. So we're gonna analyze throughout this lesson. We're gonna see these different types of queens. And one thing we're gonna see that's gonna be eminent is when we look at the female sovereign, which would be a female ruler or a queen regnant. A queen regnant would be the one that actually reigns over a region. Israelite women never have done this ever. It doesn't exist in the scripture. You'll never find that. When you look at the female noble, that would be like the wife of a king. And even in Israelite history, we don't see the wife of a king be called a queen. That's something that's done by the heathen nation. But we're going to see that also. So consort of a king would also be would fall under the wife of a king. And also could refer to a mother of a king. And we're going to see that as we continue throughout the lesson. So Ak, you can continue reading.
Continuing on, it says the most ancient Germanic sense of the word seems to have been wife, which had specialized by Old English times to wife of a king. In Old Norse, the cognate word was still mostly a wife, generally, as in quan fang, marriage, taking of a wife. And then it says quan laus, unmarried, widow. Quan riki, the domineering of a wife. And then continuing on, it says, in reference to anything personified as chief or greatest and considered as possessing female attributes from late Old English, figuratively of a woman who is chief or preeminent among others, or in some sphere by 1590s, queen mother, widow of a king who is also the mother of a reigning sovereign, is by 1570s. Colloquial Queen Mum is by 1960. And then continuing on, English is one of the few Indo-European languages to have a word for queen that is not a feminine derivative of the word king or the word for king. The others are Scandinavian, Old Norse drotting or drottning, Danish dronning, Swedish drottning, queen, in Old Norse also mistress, but these also are held to be ultimately from male words such as Old Norse drotten, master.
Con. And what they basically saying is this word, this English word queen, is not a feminine derivative of a word for king. So like how we would look at it and the way that we use it as if it's a female derivative. As if so if I'm a king, the wife that I marry, she would be a queen. But that's never how it was used. That's only recent usage. And we see these years 1600s to 1500s. This is, and we see the old English period. This is when this word came into play. This wasn't even a word in existence in antiquity. So, Ak, you can continue reading.
Con. It says of these from 1600 until the late 17th century, they generally were thought to be kings, as in Henry V. But the Anglo-Saxons knew better. Their word was Beomodor, queen bee, fully developed female bee. The mother of the hive is used in a figurative sense by 1807. Then it says, meaning male homosexual, especially a feminine and ostentatious one, is certainly recorded by 1924, probably as an altercation, so like an alteration or misunderstanding of queen, which is earlier in this sense, but it had become obscure. Cincinnati, Ohio, has been the Queen City of the West since 1835, in commercial reference to an extra large bed, large bed size, but generally smaller than king by 1954.
So y'all see, it meant male homosexual at a certain point in time. But we're gonna continue reading to see what the first usage before they start using it for a male homosexual.
We want to
With that
oh
intro.
yeah, sorry. It says queen, noun, Middle English queen, a woman, a lowborn woman. From Old English queen, woman, also female, serf, hussy, prostitute. And then it says as in public woman. From Proto-Germanic queen, sources also of Old Saxon queen or quan, Old High German quana, Old Norse kona, Gothic kino, wife, woman, Middle Dutch queen, vain or worthless woman. From PIE root, Gwen, woman, compare queen. The EA spelling is attested from early 15th century. And continuing on, woman considered without regard to qualities or position, perhaps by contrast to the senses in queen. Hence, often a slighting or abusive term for a woman. In Middle English, it could mean a harlot, an old woman, or crone. And it was in popular use in the 16th century through the 17th century in the sense of hussy, but in Scottish, often with a sense of young, robust woman. The sense of effeminate homosexual is recorded by 1935. According to Patridge, this was especially in Australian slang.
Con. And we can stop right there. So we're looking at the origin of this word, the ways it was used. It was never a term of endearment. We don't see that. And even when we look at the Bible, whenever we do see queen, even though we know that wasn't the word that was actually used at that point in time, they added this because of their English understanding. Even when you see it, you never see an Israelite woman called the queen. And we're going to analyze the text and show and prove that that's the case. And we're also going to look at terms that were used to refer to Israelite women so that we can understand that there are certain things that our women can be called, but queen shouldn't be one of them because we were never calling them that in antiquity. So if you could pull up First Kings 10, and if you want to make a point on this etymology, you can too, before we go forward.
Yeah, I mean, I would just make the point because, like, when I think about the etymology of words and how they were initially understood, because that's really what etymology is how a word was originally, like what it originally meant and how it was applied and understood, and then later on, what we get is the colloquial understanding, which is how we understand it in our contemporary spaces. But the etymology is very important because we can have, and I'm gonna use an extreme example. Let's say 200 to 300 years from now, if this place is still here, we can have somebody trying to use the term idiot as a term of endearment, and they'll say, "Yeah, man, hey, you're a real idiot, man. That's beautiful, right?" And like when you just go back down the line and look at how idiot is used, it's not a very positive connotation, but people are just taking it and saying, "Yeah, man, I'm a real idiot." Like people are just walk around trying to do that. Like, and that's a really extreme example, but it's kind of just
It
it's
is
to
a
put it,
good one. It's a good
yeah, but
example.
it's to put it in perspective that like you have to look into these words and look up the etymology. So that was a beautiful way to start the lesson. So all praise to the Most High.
And just like Ox saying, because I mean, we read the way that these words are being used. So, you really, if you calling yourself a queen, you're calling yourself a prostitute, a hussy, a whore, or whatever, these different terms that we see that are not positive. So that word needs to be done away with when it comes to us getting back to our culture. Some people, they'll say, "Well, why is that important? That don't matter." But if we're trying to seek the ancient ways, if we're returning to the law, statutes, and commandments, we're returning to our culture. That means we got to do away with things that wasn't a part of the culture when we find out. We got to do away with it. Con.
Yeah,
I
that
said,
that's a
boss,
great
that's a slang,
that's
ain't it?
a yeah, that's a great point because that's definitely slang down here in Baltimore. Like we a lot of people use that, and it's like it's not a slight at all. Like like you call your friends that, like it's real regular, but and like again, like people they give like words different meanings like in their head. So like they'll say, "Well, I'm taking the power from the word and I'm making it something else," but it, you
Uh,
know it's
uh,
craziness. But you got it, Ken.
what my wife said, a streetwalker. That's another word for a prostitute. Or another a phrase for a prostitute, a streetwalker. Uh, but yeah, let's get First Kings 10, 1 through 13. So y'all, with this passage, what we're gonna look at the first queen ever mentioned in the Bible, which is Queen Sheba.
Come. This is the book of First Kings, chapter 10, starting at verse 1. And when the queen of Sheba heard of the fame of Solomon concerning the name of the Lord, she came to prove him with hard questions. And she came to Jerusalem with a very great train, with camels that bear spices, and very much gold, and precious stones. And when she was come to Solomon, she communed with him of all that was in her heart. And Solomon told her all her questions. There was not anything hid from the king, which he told her not. And when the queen of Sheba had seen all Solomon's wisdom in the house that he had built, in the meat of his table, in the sitting of his servants, in the attendance of his ministers, in their apparel, and his cupbearers, and his ascent by which he went up unto the house of the Lord, there was no more spirit in her. And she said to the king, it was a true report that I heard in mine own land of thy acts and of thy wisdom. Howbeit, I believed not the words until I came, and my eyes had seen it. And behold, the half was not told me. Thy wisdom and prosperity exceedeth the thing which I heard. Happy are thy men, happy are these thy servants, which stand continually before thee, and that hear thy wisdom. Blessed be the Lord God, or Lord thy God, which delighted in thee, to set thee on the throne of Israel, because Yahweh loved Israel forever. Therefore made he thee king, to do judgment and justice. And she gave the king 120 talents of gold, and of spices very great store, and precious stones. There came no more such abundance of spices as these which the queen of Sheba gave to King Solomon. And the navy also of Hiram that brought gold from Ophir, brought in from Ophir great plenty of almug trees, precious stones. And the king made of the almug trees pillars from the house, or for the house of the Lord, and for the king's house, harps also, and salt trees for singers. There came no such almug trees, nor were seen unto this day. And King Solomon gave on Queen of Sheba all her desire, whatsoever she asked, beside that which Solomon gave her of his royal bounty. So she turned and went to her own country, she and her servants.
And Sister Latrice said you was breaking up a little bit. It was breaking up on my end, but it always break up on my computer inside the stream. Hopefully it is doing better. Sis, I had muted myself to see if that would help it. So just let us know if it was coming out a little better later on in the scripture reading. But y'all, when we look at this, one thing we see with Queen Sheba, she actually ran the country that she was in, and that's what she's talking about. Her, as far as her coming from so far to meet Solomon, and she's bringing him these riches and things of that nature. And when we read the etymology of the word, we looked at queen regnant. Queen regnant was those that would woman that would be in power, that would be in rulership. She would be sovereign over a particular landmass. So this is what Queen Sheba was. But Queen Sheba was not an Israelite. Ak, I want you to grab Queen, and you can grab it from verse 4. Grab Queen in Hebrew, so we can look at that word and also look at the usage for it.
Not how am I sounding?
You sound pretty good. And y'all drop a 1 in the chat if he could be heard clear. Do it during his reading his definition.
So this is H4436 Malakah. It's feminine noun. Outline of biblical usage is queen. Definition is a queen, then queen.
The water king. So this word, it's used also when we look at the we're gonna look at a passage with Queen Vashti and Queen Esther, and they married the Persian ruler Ahasuerus, but they were queen consorts. They didn't rule over a landmass, but it's the same exact word that's gonna be used. So we see that there's differentiation in how this word can be used, but we also know that at this point in time, this word queen didn't exist. The word was, Ak, if you could read it again.
Con. It's H4428 Malka.
Malka. And now grab the root, Ak, so everybody
Con.
can see the root of this word.
And the root is H4428 Melech.
Con. And so this would be the exact derivative of what we would call a king, would be Melech or Malak. So we have to look at this and analyze this, like, why is this word queen being used though? We see it used later on, centuries later. It wasn't around at this point in time. It was Malka. So if you could go to, and if you want to touch on that, you can, before we go to the next script.
No points, King.
Con, let's go to Esther 1, and let's get this account with Queen Vashti and Queen Esther. And Sister Shaq said, 100, I don't call myself that because of that. And when you try to explain it to our people, they have a real hard time wrapping their minds around it. Con says, just like anything else, if they're comfortable doing something, when you tell them it ain't right, they don't want to hear it, because this is what I do. This is what I call myself. I feel good when I call myself a queen. So you can't tell them different from what they're doing already. It's the norm. And Sister Kanaya said you was breaking up a little bit too still. I don't know what it may be, but we're gonna pray the Most High get us through it and clear it up.
Con.
That's it. That's all we can do. Through faith, it'll be all right.
Con. What was the verse in this one?
Esther 1, 1 through 3. And I'm gonna mute to see if that helps. Because Agdawar said 2.
Okay. Let me try this. All right, this is the book of Esther, chapter 1, starting at verse 1. Now it came to pass in the days of Ahasuerus. This is Ahasuerus, which reigned from India even unto Ethiopia, over 127 provinces, that in those days, when the king Ahasuerus sat on the throne of his kingdom, which was in Shushan the palace, in the 3rd year of his reign, he made a feast unto all his princes and his servants, the power of Persia and Media, the nobles and princes of the provinces being before him.
Khan. So we see that this is a king in Persia, Ahasuerus. So I want you to jump down to verses 10 through 12.
Khan. This is Esther chapter 1, starting at verse 10. On the 7th day, when the heart of the king was merry with wine, he commanded Mehuman, Biztha, Harbona, Bigtha, and Agatha, Zethar, and Carcass, the 7 chamberlains that served in the presence of Ahasuerus the king, to bring Vashti, the queen, before the king with the crown royal, to show the people and the princes her beauty, for she was fair to look on. But the queen Vashti refused to come at the king's commandment by his chamberlains. Therefore the king was very wroth, and his anger burned in him.
Khan, the water. And so let's grab queen in the Hebrew. And y'all keep note that this also is not an Israelite. This is a heathen, Queen Vashti.
Khan. H44 Malka.
Khan. Same word. And this is the same word we're going to see for our beloved sister Esther, who is an Israelite. But the only difference is she's married to a heathen king. You won't see an Israelite king with a wife that's called the queen. You're just not going to find it in the Bible. So, Ak, if you could read verses 15 through 22.
Continuing on, this is verse 15. What shall we do unto the queen Vashti according to law? Because she hath not performed the commandment of the king Ahasuerus by the chamberlains. And Memucan answered before the king and the princes, Vashti the queen hath not done wrong to the king only, but also to all the princes and to all the people that are in all the provinces of King Ahasuerus. It's like a Ahasuerus, like it. Verse 17. For this deed of the queen shall come abroad unto all women, so that they shall despise their husbands in their eyes, when it shall be reported, the king Ahasuerus commanded Vashti the queen to be brought in before him, but she came not. Likewise shall the ladies of Persia and Media say this day unto all the king's princes, which have heard of the deed of the queen. Thus shall there arise too much contempt and wrath. If it please the king, let there go a royal commandment from him, and let it be written among the laws of the Persians and Medes, that it be not altered, that Vashti come no more before the king Ahasuerus, and let the king give her royal estate unto another that is better than she is. And when the king's decree which he shall make shall be published throughout all his empire, for it is great, all the wives shall give to their husbands honor, both to great and small. And the saying pleased the king and the princes, and the king did according to the word of Memucan, for he sent letters into all the king's provinces, into every province according to the writing thereof, and to every people after their language, that every man should bear rule in his own house, and that it should be published according to the language of every people.
So when we look at this word queen and we look and examine this context, we see what happened with Queen Vashti. She wasn't ruling anything. She was subordinate to her king or her husband. And when she started to go off and want to do her own thing, basically he said, hey, I got to do away with her, because what she's going to do is influence the rest of the women in the kingdom to rebel and do whatever they want to do instead of be obedient to the king. And this is why when we look at verse 16, it says, and Memucan answered before the kings and the princes, Vashti the queen have not done wrong to the king only, but also to all the princes and to all the people that are in all the provinces of the king Ahasuerus, because she's going to have this influence on these women. These women are married to these other brothers, and they're like, hey, she's doing an injustice. Salakia, y'all. TikTok. I don't know what's going on with it. Okay. So she's doing an injustice to the entire kingdom. And so this is for that reason he put her away, and he sent out a decree to find him someone else to become queen. So if you could, if you want to make a point, you can. If not, grab Esther 2, 1 through 4.
Con. So 1 through 4.
Con. And that's a good point too, sis. She said if you pay attention to some of these medieval movies, they will sometimes refer to woman rulers as kings, not queens. An inquisitive mind would ask why that is. Con.
This is the book of Esther, chapter 2, starting at verse 1. After these things, when the wrath of King Ahasuerus was appeased, he remembered Vashti and what she had done, and what was decreed against her. Then said the king's servants that ministered unto him, let there be fair young virgins sought for the king, and let the king appoint officers in all provinces of his kingdom, that they may gather together all the fair young virgins unto Shushan the palace, to the house of the women, unto the custody of Hedge the king's chamberlain, keeper of the women, and let their things for purification be given them. And let the maiden which pleaseth the king be queen instead of Vashti. And the thing pleased the king, and he did so.
Khan. So we see the decree going out, and he's looking for someone that's going to please him. So someone's going to be pleasing to his eyes. Someone's going reputation is going to please him. So we're about to see who this is. I'll give me 5 through 9.
God. Jumping down, this is verse 5. Now in Shushan the palace there was a certain Jew whose name was Mordecai, the son of Jair, the son of Shimei, the son of Kish of Benjamin, who had been carried away from Jerusalem with the captivity which had been carried away with Jeconiah king of Judah, whom Nebuchadnezzar the king of Babylon had carried away. And he brought up Hadassah, that is Esther, his uncle's daughter, for she had neither father nor mother, and the maid was fair and beautiful, whom Mordecai, when her father and mother were dead, took for his own daughter. So it came to pass, when the king's commandment and his decree was heard, and when men maidens were gathered together unto Shushan the palace, to the custody of Haggai or Haggai, that Esther was brought also unto the king's house, to the custody of Haggai, keeper of women. And the maiden pleased him, and she obtained kindness of him. And he speedily gave her her things for purification, with such things as belonged to her, and 7 maidens, which were meet to be given her out of the king's house. And he preferred her and her maids unto the best place of the house of women.
Khan. So we see that Esther gets chose by King Ahasuerus. And just like I stated before, she's actually an Israelite. And the only reason that she's being called the queen eventually, which we're about to see her be called the queen or made a queen, is because she's married to a heathen king. Give me verse 17 and 18.
Okay. This is the book of Esther, chapter 2, starting verse 17. And the king loved Esther above all the women, and she obtained grace and favor in his sight more than all the virgins, so that he set the royal crown upon her head and made her queen instead of Vashti. Then the king made a great feast unto all his princes and his servants, even Esther's feast. And he made a release to the provinces and gave gifts according to the state of the king.
Khan. And you can grab that word also. Because it's a slight difference, but it's the same word. It's the same root.
Which one? Oh, queen
For
right there.
queen in 17. Khan.
Come,
And that the most important thing would be the outline of biblical usage because it's dealing with her being made a queen.
come. So this is H 4427 Malak. It's a verb and outline of biblical usage: to be or become king or queen, reign, to become or become, like a to be or become king or queen, reign, to make one king or queen, cause to reign, to be made king or queen, to counsel, advise, to consider. The definition, it says to reign, inceptively, to ascend the throne, causatively, to induct into royalty, hence by implication, to take counsel, consult, indeed, be, make, set, A, set up, king, B, make queen, begin to, make to, reign, reigning, rule, surely.
Khan. And we know that she wasn't reigning. The king Ahasuerus was the one that was reigning, but she would have been a queen consort. And when you look at it from that perspective, or you look at the normal way that a marriage is, a woman is designed to be a helpmeet. So, of course, the king probably would have came to his wife for advice. So he would have consulted with her, but she wasn't in rulership. But what I want you to do is scroll down to the bottom and just show these different scriptures where this word is used, because all we're gonna see is rulership, someone reigning. So we see that this is basically interchangeable with a man. Men could have this same word could be referred to as a man, as it is with this woman, with this sister. So
Con.
yeah, just so y'all can, he can just scroll through it and you can see all these different instances where it says reign. But we know she's not reigning. So we just have, the English language that confuses things. And so she's called a queen. But just like Sister Shaq said earlier, she said exactly. If you pay attention, King, if you pay attention to some of these medieval movies, they will sometimes refer to woman rulers as kings, not queens. An inquisitive mind would ask why that is. And when you look at this word, it's an interchangeable word that you could use for king or the idea of a king. So yeah, Ak, if you want to add anything, you can.
Nah, no points. No points to
Con,
add.
con. So let's go to First Kings chapter 11. And I want to show something. So I want you to read verses 1 through 3. This is dealing with our beloved brother Solomon.
Con. This is the book of First Kings, chapter 11, starting at verse 1. But the king Solomon loved many strange women, together with the daughter of Pharaoh, women of the Moabites, Ammonites, Edomites, Zidonians, and Hittites, of the nations concerning which the Lord said unto the children of Israel, Ye shall not go into them, neither shall they come in unto you, for surely they will turn away your heart after their gods. Solomon clave unto these in love, and he had 700 wives, princesses, and 300 concubines, and his wives turned away his heart.
He didn't have any queens up. And now this is Solomon. He's an Israelite. Of course, he did some things he shouldn't have did. He started marrying these heathens, and they turned his heart away from the Most High God. But what we can take from this when we read verse 3, it says he had 700 wives, princesses, and 300 concubines, and his wives turned away his heart. It doesn't say he had queens. So he didn't make anyone a queen to say, hey, you're going to rule beside me, because that wasn't the way of the Israelites. The woman never reigned on side of the man. That just wasn't her place. But we see that he did have princesses. And I grab princesses.
Come.
And y'all pay attention to the way this word is pronounced. The word in Hebrew.
Come. So this is H8282. Sarah or Shara, feminine noun, outline of biblical usage, princess, noblewoman, noble lady, definition, a mistress, i.e., female noble, lady, princess, queen.
Con, and you see queen, and this word is only used as a queen once. And you can scroll down to it. It's in this entry at the bottom, so that everybody can see why it's used.
All right, here. Isaiah 49:23.
Con, if you could read that.
Con. This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 49 and verse 23. And kings shall be thy nursing fathers, and their queens thy nursing mothers. They shall bow down to thee with their face toward the earth, and lick up the dust of thy feet, and thou shalt know that I am the Lord, for they shall not be ashamed that wait for me.
Con, this is speaking of heathen women again, not Israelite women. So this is the only time you see this word Sarah used in the form of queen when it's referring to the heathen women? And Ak, if you want to make a point, you can.
Gone. Yeah, I was kind of thinking about this. Were you gonna go into the example of Athaliah?
I don't believe so.
So there's a woman, her name is Athaliah in the scriptures. She's the daughter of Jezebel, and I believe the daughter of King Ahaz. And let me pull it up, because it's alluded to that she's called that she's a queen, but something that the brother's been highlighting is that, like, a lot of the times we see these examples, and they're definitely on the right hand side. It's like the left hand side. Like Vashti, she was definitely out of order. Esther, that wasn't, that wasn't the ideal situation for her, because she was, pretty much compelled to be the king's wife or whatever. Um, and then also, as read in Isaiah 49 and 23, those were the heathen. Those were there was multiple queens of the heathen all over the place. And then we see Sheba, the queen of Sheba, obviously different nation that's not Israel, right? So I'm gonna go to this in Second Kings. Pull it up real quick. But it's a book of Second Kings, chapter 10. Verse 13. So this is the book of Second Kings, chapter 10, verse 13. It says, Jehu met with the brethren of Ahaziah, king of Judah, and said, Who are ye? And they answered, We are the brethren of Ahaziah, and we go down to salute the children of the king and the children of the queen. And the queen, if you read, is in reference to Athaliah, which was a very, very wicked woman, out of order. Just read the book of Second Kings, I believe, starting in the 8th chapter through the 9th chapter. And what she was doing was she was trying to destroy the Davidic line of kings so that she could be preeminent and have the power. And she was super out of order. And as we understand, she was usurping the authority that she shouldn't have had a hold of. But, as Most High always does, he always puts aside a remnant that's going to survive and that's going to, do right in his sight. So you had, some of the priests or people of the priestly line, pretty much protecting, I believe it was young Joash. And they were making sure that he wasn't, put to death, alongside his brethren that were, by the hand of this so-called queen. But I wanted to bring that point out because something that the brother was kind of highlighting was the connotation that we see etymologically speaking of a queen. It's not very good characteristics. And as we read a lot of the times within the scriptures, the queen isn't necessarily something that's like, oh, this is just positive and this is just this virtuous woman. Like, we don't, like in Proverbs 31, it's not saying, oh, that's a queen. It just calls her a virtuous woman. It don't say, all of how how like we would see it in our our mainstream media or in like Shade Room. Like it's like that. That's not what the scriptures is going into. But I'll pass it back to you, Ken. You on mute too.
The water, all praise is a very good passage to bring out. And so let's go to and just to make a point on what you said, like the connotation of how it's used. People don't think about that. The biggest pushback you're gonna get when you say, man, we don't supposed to call our women queens. What do you mean? I seen queens all through the Bible. And probably the first thing they're gonna say is, what about Queen Esther? Because they know she's an Israelite, but they don't take into consideration that she was married to a heathen. That's the only reason she was a queen. But give me give me Genesis 17:15. Because I want to make a point on that word we just got through looking at for princess. It was Sarah.
Con. This is the book of Genesis, chapter 17 and verse 15. And God said unto Abraham, as for Sarai thy wife, thou shalt not call her name Sarai, but Sarah shall be her name, or shall her name be Slakia.
Con. So let's grab Sarah.
Con. So this is H8283, Sarah, and it's a proper feminine noun. Outline of biblical usage, Sarah equaling noble woman, wife of Abraham and mother of Isaac. And then it says Sarah, Abraham's wife, Sarah.
The water. So now what I want you to do, go back and grab Sarah.
Con. So this is H8297, Sarai, proper feminine noun, outline biblical usage, which equals princess for Sarai, original name of Sarah, the wife of Abram or Abraham. Then the definition it says Sarai, the wife of Abraham.
Con. So we see the things that's attached to princess. We see the faithful woman Sarah is attached to it. That was actually her name, and she would be looked at as a noble woman. So the same thing with our women. If we're calling them by the name princess, that symbolizes them being noble. That symbolizes them being a faithful woman, not like the word queen. It doesn't have its etymology steeped in and rooted in paganism and also prostitution or being whores. So all praise to the Most High. We can keep going unless you want to make a point on that.
No, no point, King.
So we with the next passage, we're gonna look at the so-called queen mother. So this would be if there's someone in rulership and they have a mother who's basically in charge of basically running or consorting with the sisters, the women of the land. This would be what she would be in charge of, and she would be referred to as a queen mother by the word that you look into in the Hebrew. So we want to grab 1 Kings 15, 9 through 13.
Con.
Con, sis. I wonder why, right? Could they be known?
Con. This is the book of 1 Kings, chapter 15, starting at verse 9. And in the 20th year of Jeroboam, king of Israel, reigned Asa over Judah. And 41 years reigned he in Jerusalem. And his mother's name was Ma'akah, the daughter of Abishalom. And Asa did that which was right in the eyes of the Lord, as did David his father. And he took away the Sodomites out of the land and removed all the idols that his fathers had made. And also Maachah, his mother, even her he removed from being queen because she had made an idol in a grove. And Asa destroyed her idol and burnt it by the brook Kidron.
Con. So what we see with Maachah, the king's mother, that title or that position was she's able to be removed from it. Just like we see with Queen Vashti. She was able to be removed from the position that she was in. Ak, I want you to grab queen in the Hebrew.
Come.
Because we want to have a little more understanding about her role.
So this is H1377. It's Gavira, feminine noun, outline of biblical usage, queen, lady, queen, mother, mistress, queen.
Con. So it uses the word queen, the English word queen, but it's not actually as if she's a queen because we've seen what a queen is by looking at the other usages of the word. So when it says queen lady or queen mother, basically it's symbolizing her being the chief lady or the first lady, my lady. Just like we look at the word my Lord, we look at the word Lord, and Sarah called Abraham her Lord, and he would in turn have to refer to her as his lady because she's a noble woman. So it's not calling her a queen, but it's just the position that she's in, where when they start to translate the Bible from their understanding, they look at the word queen and they say, okay, she's the queen mother, but she's not actually a queen, and she wouldn't have been looked at as a queen. She wasn't in any type of reigning, any type of rulership. She didn't have any type of rulership. But Ak, if you want to make a point, you can. And there we go with TikTok again.
Nah, no points on my side.
Con. All right, so let's get 1 Kings 2,
Con.
verses 13 through 21. And this is going to be the same word that we see with this the queen word, and we're going to see something else special about this role. Con. The water. She was like the mother of the church or first lady.
You said 13 through 21.
Yes, sir.
That's the book of 1 Kings, chapter 2, starting at verse 13. And and Adonijah, the son of Haggith, came to Bathsheba, the mother of Solomon. And she said, comest thou peaceably? And he said, peaceably. He said, moreover, I have somewhat to say unto thee. And she said, say on. And he said, thou knowest that the the kingdom was mine, and that all Israel set their faces on me, that I should reign. Howbeit the kingdom is turned about, and is become my brother's, for it was his from the Lord. And now I ask one petition of thee, deny me not. And she said unto him, say on. And he said, speak, I pray thee, unto Solomon the king, for he will not say nay, say thee nay, that he give me Abishag the Shunammite wife. And Bathsheba said, well, I will speak for thee unto the king. Bathsheba therefore went unto King Solomon to speak unto him for Adonijah. And the king rose up to meet her, and bowed himself unto her, and sat down on his throne, and caused a seat to be set for the king's mother, and she sat on his right hand. Then she said, I desire one small petition of thee. I pray thee, say me not nay. And the king said unto her, Ask on, my mother, for I will not say thee nay. And she said, Let Abishag the Shunammite be given to Adonijah thy brother to wife.
So sometimes the woman who's in that position, the so-called queen mother or the first lady, she can speak on behalf of the king, or she can come and speak to the king on behalf of someone else. So this is a part of her position, and we see that she didn't have any authority in order to make it happen, but she was able to go to the king and ask, and this king is her actual son. And she understood that when she asked him, like, hey, I got something I want to ask you. And he's like, okay, go ahead and ask me, and I ain't gonna tell you no. So it's a difference in when we look at the queen regnant, like we see Queen Sheba. She was actually a ruler. There was no one that could tell her no. There was no one that could remove her from a position. She was all powerful over that region wherever she was at. So there's a difference when we see these different roles that are dispersed throughout the Bible. And whenever you do see this word queen, the understanding is there that this never was a word in existence to begin with. So we have to look at the etymology of the word. That's the actual word that's actually there in Hebrew. But cons, cons, she said the elder mothers in white with gloves and the biggest hat. Con, con. But yeah, if you got something you want to add, you can before I change trajectory with this lesson.
Nah, nothing to add. Excellent lesson thus far.
Con. So there's something that a lot of people like to do, or what they like to run to when we speak, and we speak on the point and the fact that women are not meant to rule. That's just not supposed to happen. That wasn't our culture. Yeah, you see it in other cultures and you see it in other countries, but that's not the case with us. So I want to examine the passage, and the passage of Deborah or Deborah, however you want to say it, because this is who they use to try and justify themselves and say, well, what about Deborah? So give me Judges 4 through 10.
This is the book of Judges, chapter 4, starting at verse 4. And Deborah, a prophetess, the wife of Lapidoth, she judged Israel at that time. And she dwelt under the palm tree of Deborah between Ramah and Bethel in Mount Ephraim. And the children of Israel came up to her for judgment. And she sent and called Barak, the son of Abinoam, out of Kadesh Naphtali, and said unto him, Hath not the Lord God of Israel commanded, saying, Go and draw toward Mount Tabor, and take with thee 10,000 men of the children of Naphtali, and of the children of Zebulun, and I will draw unto thee to the river Kishon Sisera, the captain of Jabin's army, with his chariots and his multitude, and I will deliver him into thine hand. And Barak said unto her, If thou wilt go with me, then I will go. But if thou wilt not go with me, then I will not go. And she said, I will surely go with thee, notwithstanding the journey that thou takest shall not be for thine honor. For the Lord shall sell Sisera into the hand of a woman. And Deborah arose and went with Barak to Kadesh. And Barak called Zebulun and Naphtali to Kadesh. And he went up with 10,000 men at his feet. And Deborah went up with him.
Con. So it says, and Deborah, a prophetess, the wife of Lapidoth, she judged Israel at that time. And she dwelt under the palm tree of Deborah between Ramah and Bethel in Mount Ephraim, and the children of Israel came up to her for judgment. So we see with her position is she's good at judging things. So she's used to judge things. So this, when you look at it from this perspective, it's like if a brother has a good wife who has good judgment, he go, hey baby, what you think about this? And she's gonna give him good advice because he trusts her to give him good judgment. That don't, oh my God, TikTok getting on my nerve. Okay. But that don't mean that she's in any way, shape, or form fit to lead, but her advice is vital to that man that's in leadership. So she would be someone he would consult with. So when we continue reading, it says, and she sent and called Barak, the son of Abinoam, out of Kadesh Naphtali, and said unto him, have not the Lord God of Israel commanded, saying, go and draw toward Mount Tabor, and take with thee 10,000 men of the children of Naphtali and of the children of Zebulun. So now she's informing something that the Most High God has already told them to do. She's referring to, hey, didn't the Most High tell you to do this? This is what you need to do. And it says, I will draw unto thee to the river Kishon Sisera, the captain of Jabin's army, with his chariots and his multitude, and I will deliver him into thine hand. And Barak said unto her, if thou wilt go with me, then I will go. But if thou wilt not go with me, then I will not go. So now we see something else. She don't have any power to make him just do it. He's saying, hey, if you go with me, I'm gonna do it. If you ain't going, I ain't doing it. So he can directly disobey what she's telling him to do, showing that she's not in no way, shape, or form in rulership over him. So it says, and Barak said unto her, so like it says, and she said, I will surely go with thee, notwithstanding the journey that thou takest shall not be for thine honor, for the Lord shall sell Sisera into the hand of a woman. And Deborah arose and went with Barak to Kadesh. And Barak called Zebulun and Naphtali to Kadesh, and he went up with 10,000 men at his feet, and Deborah went up with him. Now I want you to grab verses 14 through 24.
Come. This is Judges chapter 4, starting at verse 14. And Deborah said unto Barak, up, for this is the day in which the Lord hath delivered Sisera into thine hand. Is not the Lord gone out before thee? So Barak went down from Mount Tabor, and 10,000 men after him. And the Lord discomfited Sisera and all his chariots and all his hosts with the edge of the sword before Barak, so that Sisera lighted down off his chariot and fled away on his feet. But Barak pursued after the chariots and after the hosts unto Harosheth of the Gentiles, and all the hosts of Sisera fell upon the edge of the sword, and there was not a man left. Howbeit Sisera fled away on his feet to the tent of Jael, the wife of Heber, the Kenite. For there was peace between Jabin, the king of Hazor, and the house of Heber, the Kenite. And Jael went out to meet Sisera, and said unto him, turn in, my lord, turn in to me, fear not. And when he had turned in unto her into the tent, she covered him with a mantle. And she said unto her, and he said unto her, give me, I pray thee, a little water to drink, for I am thirsty. And she opened a bottle of milk, and gave him drink, and covered him. Again he said unto her, stand in the door of the tent, and it shall be, when any man doth come and inquire of thee, and say, is there any man here? That thou shalt say no. Then Jael, Heber's wife, took a nail of the tent, and took an hammer in her hand, and went softly in unto him, and smote the nail into his temples, and fastened it into the ground. For he was fast asleep and weary, so he died. And behold, as Barak pursued Sisera, Jael came out to meet him, and said unto him, come, and I will show thee the man whom thou seekest. And when he came into her tent, behold, Sisera lay dead, and the nail was in his temples. So God subdued on that day Jabin, the king of Canaan, before the children of Israel. And the hand of the children of Israel prospered and prevailed against Jabin, the king of Canaan, until they had destroyed Jabin, king of Canaan.
Khan, and this was my next point, Octawad. Deborah never fought. She stayed back. The men went ahead and fought. She was used to be an advisor, an encourager, a motivator, what we know our sisters to do and be. She was used by the Most High God also to deliver a message from Yahweh and to judge the situation righteously and at the right time to get them to go ahead and, be prompted to take action. Because if it wasn't for her, Barack would have still been waiting when it was time for him to actually go. So she basically pushed him like, hey, go ahead. You know the Most High God is going to deliver these people to you. So go. So, that's all brothers be needing is a little motivation. But all praise to the Most High and Shalom, mama. So, Ak, if you want to make a point, you can.
Nah, no points, King.
Con. So, with all of those passages we've went through, we've been able to analyze and see that our sisters, they play a very important and vital role in our lives. Because they don't or are not made to lead doesn't mean that the Most High can't use them to advise us on matters or to ever just influence a situation for the better. That definitely can happen. And the Most High God does definitely deal with our sisters. But the whole point is we got to get away from calling our sisters queens because look at the etymology of the word. Look at the social construct that surrounds it when we go and dive into history. So what I want to do now is grab a few passages because when you take something away, you got to replace it with something, right? So what's the title that we can now call an Israelite woman that would be a term of endearment? So I'll give me Isaiah 3:16 and 17.
God. Isaiah 13:16.
Isaiah 3:16 and 17.
Okay.
Woman of God.
That's the book of Isaiah chapter 3, starting at verse 16. Moreover, the Lord saith, because the daughters of Zion are haughty, and walk with stretched forth necks and wanton eyes, walking and minting as they go, and making a tinkling with their feet. Therefore the Lord will smite with a scab the crown of the head of the daughters of Zion, and the Lord will discover their secret parts.
Con. So we see that at this point in time, these daughters of Zion, they ain't doing what they should, but they're daughters of Zion, which would be daughters of the Most High God, with daughters of Israel. So you definitely could refer to yourself as a daughter of Zion. Give me Zechariah 9:9-15.
Come.
And I like Sister Zuli's YouTube name because when you look at what it means, daughter of a king is a princess. That's all it is. That's all it means.
Come. You said 9-15.
Yes, sir.
Now, this is the book of Zechariah, chapter 9, starting at verse 9. Rejoice greatly, O daughter of Zion. Shout, O daughter of Jerusalem. Behold, thy king cometh unto thee. He is just, having salvation, lowly, and riding upon an ass, and upon a colt, the foal of an ass. And I will cut off the chariot from Ephraim, and the horse from Jerusalem, and the battle bow shall be cut off, and he shall speak peace unto the heathen, and his dominion shall be from sea even to sea, and from the river even to the ends of the earth. As for thee also, by the blood of thy covenant, I have sent forth thy prisoners out of the pit wherein is no water. Turn you to the stronghold, ye prisoners of hope. Even today do I declare that I will render double like a double unto thee. When I have bent Judah for me, filled the bow with Ephraim, and raised up the sons, or thy sons, O Zion, against thy sons, O Greece, and made thee as a sword of a mighty man. And the Lord shall be seen over them, and his arrow shall go forth as the lightning, and the Lord God shall blow the trumpet, and shall go with whirlwinds of the south. The Lord of hosts shall defend them, and they shall devour and subdue with sling stones, and they shall drink and make a noise as through wine, and they shall be filled like bowls, and as the corners of the altar. You on mute, King.
I'm just reading way too. So looking at verse 9, it says, Rejoice greatly, O daughter of Zion. Shout, O daughter of Jerusalem. Behold, thy king cometh unto thee. He is just and having salvation, lowly and riding upon an ass and upon a colt, the foal of an ass. Now, when we look at this context, we know that this is dealing with Israel as a whole, not just the women, not just the sisters. This is dealing with Judah and Ephraim. It's dealing with northern and southern kingdom Israelites. But I wanted to bring this out because this is speaking positively about the daughters of Zion. And we're all being referred to as the daughter of Zion because we're being bidded to the marriage and we're looked at as the Most High God's wives. So now we see a positive connotation surrounding the daughter of Zion. This is kingdom connotation. And what we read in Isaiah 3 was also going into kingdom connotation. I'm about to just kill TikTok because they getting on my nerve. All right, that's dead. All right. So we see, positive connotation surrounding the daughters of Zion in kingdom connotation also. So that you know that, it's just not when you look at the daughters of Zion, it's a negative light on. So all praise to the most high. Give me Revelation 19, 7 through 9.
God. This is the book of Revelation, chapter 19, starting at verse 7. Let us be glad and rejoice and give honor to him, for the marriage of the Lamb is come, and his wife hath made herself ready. And to her was granted that she should be arrayed in fine linen, clean and white. For the fine linen is the righteousness of saints. And he hath said unto me, Write, blessed are they which are called unto the marriage supper of the Lamb. And he saith unto me, These are the true sayings of God.
Con. Just reiterating what I was speaking on as far as us being the Most High's wife, being bidded to the marriage, to the Lamb. Give me Lamentations 1 and 1.
God. This book of Lamentations, chapter 1, verse 1. How doth the city sit solitary, that was full of people? How is she become as a widow? She that was great among the nations, and princess among the provinces. How is she become tributary?
And we know this is speaking of the Israelites, but it's also being referred to. They're also being referred to as a woman. Just like we just got through covering that we're going to be bidded to the marriage as the bride, and we also covered also that Solomon, even though he went off and he started marrying all these women of these other nations, he didn't have queens, but he did have princesses. So Ak, if you want to add anything, you can. I think that's all I'm gonna cover today. Um,
Con,
you know, I think that's pretty much it that needs to be said. Nothing else needs to be added to it.
con, con, and excellent ending point because contextually here in Lamentations, this is touching on the besiege or excuse me the siege of Babylon. And so when you come down, I think 5 verses later, it says, "And from the daughters of Zion, all her beauty is departed. Her princes are become like harts that find no pasture, and they are gone without strength before sewer." And so when you just do a little digging, look at the word Zion, typically what you'll see is it's an emblematic name for Jerusalem as a people, similar to the name of Jeshurun, which that's my last name, as y'all can see. Not my government last name, but it's what I named myself. But that's an emblematic name to speak of basically like the beauty or the splendor of the Most High's chosen. And so basically, this is speaking of how Zion and how Jerusalem, how the daughter of Zion, it was much beauty to behold. Speaking as a people, speaking as the city, one of the most beautiful cities all over, from all over the world, right? But it went, it was cast down from heaven, to the ground. And you even see that in the book of Lamentations, the 2nd chapter. So, excellent showing that, you can see it kind of on both sides, whether positive or negative. But yeah, man, that's pretty much everything I have. Excellent, excellent lesson through the Spirit and power of the Most High. Very informative. For anybody that they still kind of struggle with some of these terms, make sure to just look over the information that the brother brought out. Very thorough. Also awesome lesson. I'll pass it back to you, King. And you on mute.
I've been trying to make sure I mute because I want to make sure you coming out correctly because we were having a little problem. But I think all praise to the Most High that the issues were fixed. But yeah, all praises. I think this is something that we need. It may be small to some people, but when you take small things and you say I'm gonna adjust that and tweak that, that shows that there's no pride. That shows that you're willing to learn and unlearn and relearn, because that's what it takes when we start this journey of truth. So all praise to the Most High, the water out for the reading, the water to everybody that tuned in, everybody that shared and liked, commented. If you haven't commented, or if you're watching it on the replay, we ask that will let us know that you were able to join the stream. Also, like and share so that the content is able to be seen by other people, so that the visibility is increased. But all praise to the Most High. All praise. And if you
Con,
got anything else, go ahead. Go ahead.
just a quick point based on what you just said. Song of Solomon, chapter 2, verse 15. Take us the foxes, the little foxes that spoil the vines, for our vines have tender grapes. And the wisdom that we can extract from here is that even the little foxes, they can spoil the vines of the vineyard. So like if you extract the wisdom from here, this is dealing with something that can seem small or appear small, but it could have a huge effect, i.e., spoiling a vineyard or spoiling vines, which are an intricate part or a very important part of the vineyard. And so like you take something like, well, it's just clean, it's not that big of a deal.
Right.
Something small like that, you fighting that hard over something small like that, and especially in light of all of the information that's brought forth, that actually points to a bigger problem. And it actually can I think in might be in Mark 7 or Matthew 15, I think it's in both of them, Yahushua speaks about what defiles somebody, and that's that pride. People being proud, and a lot of the times it starts from something small. So hopefully that's nobody that's watching tonight. Hopefully that's this was easy to digest and accept. But for the people that do end up watching this, don't let pride seep in. Just receive the information. Actually acknowledge it and look at it objectively. But I'll pass it back to you, King.
The water. That's a great disclaimer. And that's what we aim to do with every single lesson we bring out. We try to go into enough information so it's made plain and clear, so people won't harden their heart where they can see the picture and see it clear. Try to break it down to the smallest details. So all praise to the Most High God for it. And I think that's it.
Gone.
Oh yeah, reminder y'all. Tomorrow night we will be doing a lesson. It may be the Philippians 3. I don't know. I'm just gonna go with the spirit because something else might be on my spirit tomorrow. But right as of now, that's the plan. It may be Philippians 3, but if something else pop up and I put something else together, it'd be something else. But we definitely gonna do it tomorrow night. So all praise to the Most High. And the water, Sister Latrice, Sister Shaq, and Sister Tari Aria. He said, Shalom Kings, I've been here like 15 minutes, but I remember Aaron told me queen means prostitute a long time ago. All praise to the Most High, sis. All praises. We glad you still was able to get on the stream. All praises. But yeah, you could take us out.
Con. And we'll close it out when God, all praises, man. Close it out with Numbers 6 and 24 on down. Yahweh bless thee and keep thee. Yahweh make his face shine upon thee and be gracious unto thee. Yahweh lift up his countenance upon thee and give thee peace. And they shall put my name upon the children of Israel, and I will bless them. And with that, I'll say shalom.
Shalom, Mark. Shalom, family.
It ain't for everybody. 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 Yeah, many are called, but few get chosen. Matthew 22 and 14.